Another year, another betrayal and mass migration. The ONS has announced the latest legal migration numbers as 672,000 from the year ending June 2023. I'd say these numbers are shocking, but we shouldn't be shocked. In fact, importing hundreds of thousands of migrants and smashing new records for the level of inward migration into the UK has been par for the course for the Conservative government. Rishi Sunak has sought to style himself as a different kind of politician, breaking away from the chaos of the Truss and Johnson years.
It has been a huge honour to be Prime Minister.
But when it comes to our borders, he's the perfect continuity candidate. It's been politically useful for the government to give the impression that they take net migration seriously. Take the appointment and then removal of Suella Braverman as Home Secretary, dubbed Cruella by the left-wing press for her seemingly tough stances on border control. But Suella Braverman's rhetoric turned out to be just that, rhetoric. On the numbers alone, she's proven herself to be the most pro-immigration Home Secretary the country has ever had. Boris Johnson, the hero who oversaw our withdrawal from the European Union and our last directly elected Prime Minister, bears a significant proportion of the blame for today's figure. After all, it was under his leadership that the state relaxed many of the visa requirements responsible for our current surge. The introduction of the social care visa, reduction of the salary threshold for workers, and relaxation of student visas have all contributed to today's number. Yes, the party of taking back control has managed to triple immigration from our pre-Brexit peak. Mass immigration has fundamentally transformed Britain. In 1991, around 7% of people living in Britain were born abroad. According to our latest census data from 2021, that share has now risen to 16.8%. The transformation has always been pursued without public consent, and in many instances operated in direct opposition to it. Indeed, no government since 1997 has been elected on anything other than a platform of controlling legal migration. Yes, New Labour oversaw the first explosion in illegal migration, but it wouldn't be until the election of David Cameron in 2010 that the policy was embraced as a fact of political office. Cameron promised to take net migration back to the levels of the 1990s, tens of thousands a year, not hundreds of thousands. Well, the opposite has proved to be true. Net migration over 5 years averaged 247,000, while new arrivals passed 600,000 in 2014. Seeking re-election, the Tories have reiterated their tens of thousands pledge in 2015 and did again under Theresa May in 2017. And in 2019, Boris Johnson quietly dropped the tens of thousands commitment after 9 years of no serious attempt to meet it. A politician willing to break the endless cycle of border capitulation faces an uphill battle, with the Treasury, the Department for Work and Pensions, the NHS, the Department of Education, and yes, even the Home Office. It's not that mass migration has made Britain rich. It hasn't. But rather that our short-termist politicians have become addicted to it. It reveals their preference for cheap labour over capital investment, the lowering of institutional standards over expensive and electorally unpopular reform, and negligible GDP growth over per capita improvements. And what about culture? Suella Braverman was right to say that multiculturalism has failed.
It has failed.
In fact, almost all countries where it is attempted, it has failed. Take Lebanon, Brazil, South Africa, or the Balkans. It is simply impossible to integrate millions of people from different cultures, especially when our own political, cultural and media class deride our own culture and history as wicked, steeped in colonialism, oppression and violence. The result of this failure has been clear. After the October 7 massacres in Israel, we have seen weeks of hate marches where people openly support terrorism. There's been an institutional cover-up of Asian grooming gangs throughout the north of England.
At least there is an acknowledgement of the failures.
Britain has witnessed multiple terror attacks from those who despise our way of life. As continental Europe rides a wave of nationalist populism, emboldened by voters sick and tired of their conventional political class, shamelessly disregarding their democratic mandates, a question arises. Will we have our own anti-immigration movement? Who will lead it? And could it smash the two-party consensus in Britain once and for all? The Conservatives are the party of mass immigration. Regardless of what is promised over the next few days, it's vital that we remember that.